Oh, hi.
Hi.
We're live, eventually. Well done, only 16 minutes late. Hello everyone, sorry that we're late. It is all Buddy's fault, obviously. The first thing we do in any live stream is blame somebody. I'm Electric Leo. I'm here with
Dan Ouellette.
Dan Ouellette, who is a
level designer.
Level designer. Basically, Dan Ouellette makes Gotham Divided, and we are going to talk today about some of the awesome changes. Gotham Divided is obviously our pro games map, pro esports map. So if you're a pro gamer, you'll be playing mostly in our game. I love to follow our scene, but
you're really a scene sort of guy.
Yeah, I really love to follow. I can watch our games all day.
All day?
All day. But it takes all day to watch our games because they last for so long.
No work gets done.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
So we're going to make some changes to help speed up the matches.
Yeah, we're speeding up the matches. We have some graphical updates. We have some balance stuff. A little bit of everything.
Cool. So we're gonna show you them. We're gonna take a wander around the new map. Just sort of as a warning, we're normally in beta, but now we're like beta. We actually this QA we were going to talk about some of the changes we've made, or all of the changes we made to responsiveness. But we wanted to bring this, and we were going to talk about the Gotham Divided changes a little bit later. But we wanted to bring it forward so that we would have time to have an actual discussion with you about them, so that we would have time to absorb some of your feedback. And if any of it was better than what's going on in Dan's head, which is unlikely, then it's
fairly likely.
Then we would have time to make those changes. So what that means is that this build is super fresh out the oven, like literally piping hot, and we may see some crashes, we may see some odd visual bugs. Also, we're going to throw a ton of admin stuff in it that hasn't been tested, so if anything goes wrong, I'm really sorry.
And it's probably my fault, or
definitely
somebody else's fault.
Definitely Dan's fault.
Good chance.
Yeah. As you're watching, we're going to go through, we're going to discuss everything in hyper detail. I don't know if you want to start the thing.
I'll kick it.
And then we're going to take your questions, feed them into the chat. Celestrada is in chat. She's going to be feeding me the questions, and then we'll respond to them at the end. But don't be afraid to throw your questions in now, and don't be offended if we don't answer them immediately. We will get to them unless you ask us 200 questions, in which case we'll just get to the best ones. But we have a solid error, so this should be fine. Cool. So we're let's let it get through this slightly
bad opening sequence.
Slightly empty. All right, yeah. Let's jump into game. Miss your two boots, who's on the desk. It's going to switch us to Dan's screen. Dan can tell us about some really cool stuff.
All right. So the first thing you may notice is we got all these brightly colored pads in the base. These are our deployable generators. You also may notice that we have Ouija over here. She's now our base turret. And I'm actually able to run around a little bit faster in base. I get this little speed effect on me.
Wow, you're so fast!
Yeah, so super fast. Batman is ready.
Is that the buff? Is that there at the bottom above your toolbar? Can we hover over that? Is there a tooltip for it?
Yeah, it's most of the stuff is placeholder right now. The VFX for all this stuff is placeholder as well. But these will all be changing before we go live. Also, we're probably going to be getting rid of 2 of these pads and consolidating them into this singular camera pad. So these are the new base cameras. We got rid of all the beacons, and we changed them so they're all collidable, which means you can just walk into them, you get the buff, and then you can place it down. And you notice the bar actually drained down, and it's going to start to regenerate as it comes back online. So you'll know exactly when the next camera is up. So it sort of helps you in terms of it's a little bit easier to interact with. You don't have to right-click on it. You don't have to channel it. And then you actually have the respawn right there, so you know exactly when it's going to be back up again. Also, these 2 are inactive right now, but when the jungle camps come back online, we're actually going to run over here and we're going to kill this guy. And I'm going to show you exactly how these work. In the meantime, look at how fast I'm running out of the base. And now I'm running a little bit slower.
Sad face.
So you get that buff, that speed buff, for 6 seconds as you're running out of the base, and it sort of helps you get back into the action a little bit faster when you recall or when you've been defeated and you're running back.
And that buff specifically, it's 6 seconds after the moment that you leave that edge?
As soon as you step off that pad, right around here, you're gonna lose the buff.
Okay.
And you're gonna you're gonna be put on a 6-second timer.
What if I teleport out?
If you teleport out, we currently it doesn't work. We're making it so that when you teleport out, you won't have the speed buff. It also interrupts on damage. So like if somebody's in the base and they hit you as you're running out, you'll actually be reset to your existing speed. So you can still do some shenanigans there in the base when they're attacking your base and you're running back to your fountain and healing. But for the most part, it's not gonna be a game changer in terms of you're not gonna be running around the base at 30 miles an hour.
Got it.
Anyways, so I'm gonna kill this one guy. Nothing changes. I'm gonna kill this guy. We're gonna get the buff, but the respawn timer isn't gonna change because the buff of the camp isn't actually cleared until all the minions are dead. So we're gonna kill the last guy. It's gonna reset. This will actually show the respawn timer for the camp, so you actually don't have to keep track. We show up on the timeline. You're gonna see it as well, but it's nice and easy right here, so you can just pick it up, and you'll know when it respawns. Based on it's sort of, this is more with the accessibility changes we've been working on to sort of make things a little bit more transparent to our players and easier to understand.
Cool.
I'm actually gonna showcase one of the other new changes with the speed pad here.
I know your tricks. Step over the cliff, Batman. Join me.
So we have a Joker here. I'm gonna use the speed pad on him. And he's actually being slowed right now because he just got directly hit by the speed pad.
And not damaged.
And not damaged. So we actually we removed the damage from the speed pad specifically, and we made it so that it slows people instead. So you can use it a little bit more offensively if you want to, just by dropping it. It's a long shot, it's hard to do, but if you do get it, it's awesome for gangs.
And also if you're chasing, it's better for zoning because they would eat the damage, but they won't eat the slow.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and then you get an additional one back at your base. So we effectively doubled the amount of deployables on the map by doing this. So now you'll get one here, and you get one. The jungler gets one, and then somebody from the lanes can go back to base and get one as well.
Cool. The jungler can also go back and pick one up.
Yep.
If he wants to, and if I have one, can I pick up a second one?
If you have a existing T-skill already, like I already have one right now, and I go and I try and pick up another one, you can't actually pick up another one now. Before you could like use a beacon and then use another beacon and use it. Basically, we wanted to make sure that people weren't griefing their own team by running up and down all the pads and picking up all the buffs. So, yeah, you have to use the skill you have before you pick up another one.
Got it. And if it's lit at the base, I've killed my camp, and then I go over and I kill the other camp.
Yep.
On the enemy side.
It'll just stay lit. It doesn't. You'll actually lose the extra one that you would have had if you don't use it.
But you get that one. You get the one from their camp immediately for yourself.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep.
So no tier 2.
Yep. No tier 2 anymore. We got rid of that. It's just tier 1 all the time.
Yeah. Tier 2 was rubbish anyway.
As you can see up here, we've been doing some revamp. So this is not entirely complete, but we have some. We have some new structures coming in. We've also done some revamps to some of the individual assets. This parking garages had a slight revamp. We added in the grass in the last update. We've constantly been iterating on all the terrain painting around the map, making things a little bit nicer. This is more of the ritzy section. We added in a new Wayne Memorial up here.
Nice.
And
if some of this isn't finished, we're really sorry, Floon. We're showing it anyway, but it'll look even better later, maybe, or maybe this is finished.
We've done a lot of work just in trying to clean up some of this. I mean, it was all like garbage planners before, and nobody likes to look at garbage, so this literally just came in yesterday, so like fresh off the press. But anyways, one of the new changes we've done to the top and bottom camps, you may have read yesterday. Oh, did he actually didn't die. Awesome.
There we go. The first
bug.
The first bug.
I think he's actually dead, but he's not on the ground.
He just doesn't look dead.
Anyways, these guys drop surveillance towers now, which I need to turn fog back on. Which means they originally dropped from the raider here, but they dropped from these camps now, and they have a slightly reduced effectiveness. So I'm gonna drop this right over here in the jungle. So this is the radius. It's a little bit. It's about a screen size worth, which is about half of what it was before.
But it's still like a solid 3 cameras, maybe 2 cameras.
Yeah, and it still sees over walls too, which is good, and it still sees through stealth. But it only takes 5 hits to kill now, and it's a reduced radius. So you'll get these 2, one up here and one down here, just 2, and they last for 5 minutes now instead of infinite like they did before. So they will die out, and this camp's not going to respawn for 7.5 minutes.
Right. So there's not just going to be billions of these things all over them.
Exactly. Exactly.
And then, sorry, did the cast distance or range, is that still?
The cast range is the same. We didn't change that.
Excellent.
So I'm going to go down here. I'm going to spawn the raider. The big difference here is this pad will spawn here. As soon as you activate the raider, it's going to spawn the super pads down bottom too. So these will change based on where you spawn the dude. I'm going to kill this guy. He drops the EMP now. And this works the same. The only difference is it's a solid 5 seconds because we removed tier 2. So tier 1 before was, I believe it was 4 seconds, and tier 2 was 6. So now it's just 5 all around.
All right. So actually also we're seeing a fancy little red and green danger outline there. That will not be in regular Gotham Divided, but we're messing around with some stuff on the UI. So you may see some other things like that.
Yeah, this is not going live. Yeah. Run down here really quick. Right. Spawn the Leviathan. So only a couple small changes to Leviathan. The first one is that we changed it so that his health bar is actually in the center of him.
I wouldn't say that's a small change. I would say that is a huge change.
We also changed the way that he actually drops deployables, so I don't know.
Is this gonna work? Might not.
I don't know if I can smite him, so...
So we're just gonna fight him for 20 minutes?
Yeah! Alright, yeah, it works, great.
Alright.
We also see this rank skill UI, a little bit of a sneak peek, but that won't be going live either. So he drops a EMP now as well, so you can use that just like you would normally from the Raider. So we actually didn't reduce the number of EMPs from the map, we just moved them around a little bit.
Right.
More towards the team objectives rather than the top and bottom camps.
Although you definitely won't get early EMPs now.
Yeah, it's we remove these. Actually, these guys, we have a new match timeline as well, so they're actually spawning 3 minutes into the match. They don't spawn immediately at the match start with all the other creatures.
Okay.
So you're not going to see like a team level 1 team fight down here over these guys anymore.
Right.
The shield is unchanged. It's as good as ever. It's a solid skill. We actually did a huge revamp to the meteor though, which I will demonstrate here.
Our bottom turret is under attack.
Wrong one.
Our top turret is under attack.
So, first of all, we actually reduced the duration of the meteor and we doubled the damage. So it does the same amount of damage, but it does it in half the time. And then the second part of it is we added a slow onto it. I believe the slow is 50% for as long as you're in it. So you'll get slowed and then you won't be able to get out quite as easily as you were before. So it's a little bit more effective for zoning and it's a little bit more effective for damage. And that is about it for the actual visual changes.
So let's just go over a recap again. The way the deployables, just the way that the pads go down is changing. You'll see them when you do. There's only tier 1. When you do drop a tier 1, it's also now destroyable by the opposing team in 2 auto attacks, 3 auto attacks, or something.
It's 3 for the regular deployables. It's 5 for the surveillance tower, and I believe it's 3 for the EMP as well.
Right. So when they drop it, they won't just still be there like a couple minutes later. If you don't want it to be there, you take that out.
Yep.
Speed boost when you leave the base.
Yep. Actually,
new drone spawn point. Did we cover that?
We did not. So we moved the minion spawn points up a little bit. Basically, what this does is when a lane is pushing down here, the drones will spawn behind the wave. However, if they're attacking the power core turrets. However, they will still defend this area, but you won't get the drones from here. Like, you're not gonna. All 3 lanes aren't going to defend the power core. You only have that one lane defending the power core.
Okay.
And what that does is it sort of helps one team, if you're pushing really hard into a base and you get a dampener down early, you can sort of pressure that lane a little bit, and they'll actually get damage on the power core turrets. Whereas before, if you only took down a single dampener, it was almost possible to sort of get that damage on the power core turrets.
Does that make one of the lanes better to take down than the others?
The middle lane is actually the fastest to traverse the map. However, you actually will end up, I mean, it's easier to defend as well, and the choke point right here is a little bit tighter than on the top and the bottom, so it's a little bit harder to siege.
Right. But not in terms of which drones are doing what or going where? Or...
No, it doesn't really affect the drones itself.
Okay. So drone spawn points, movement speed out of the base, so we want faster resolution. XP changes on the map? Yeah,
we reduced the jungle camp XP a little bit because they are almost out-leveling solo lanes.
Right.
So we brought them a little bit more in between the solo lane XP and the duo lane XP.
Okay.
They also were getting more credits than the solo lane, which we actually, I believe in one of the patches in the previous months, we actually fixed. Okay. So this is the second half of that change where the junglers were just carrying in levels in both currency. So we toned it down a little bit.
So I think, yeah, that pretty much is... we've said most things. We have a ton of questions here, so I'm just going to start going through them.
Oh, I'm sorry. There's actually one other thing that we did. These turrets, when they blow up now, will not actually open up the new passages.
Oh.
So,
that's big.
Yeah, overall, like, we felt like it wasn't a huge gameplay change. It didn't really affect the way people made decisions in terms of, just in the way that they were tackling the map. So we felt that for the cost of doing that, it was not worth having the actual destruction. We kind of just put it in there because we felt like we needed more catastrophic events in the map, and it didn't really add a whole lot to gameplay.
So cost in terms of processor cost?
In terms of processor performance.
Right.
Yep.
Because performance upgrades in September are going to be a big thing.
Huge. They're huge. Our minimums PC requirements just like... the game runs so much smoother now, so a lot of people that may have not been able to play before.
If you only had a couple of megabytes before, you couldn't play our game. Now our game will work with a couple of megabytes. Technical talking. All right, let's hit some questions. Some of these are great. Let's start with what hair product is Leo using? Thank you, Celestrata, for some excellent moderation there. I am using L'Oreal Fructus Surf Hair. Put it on when it's wet, let it dry, and then you can mess around. Depreet. I apologize, I've just murdered your name. Depreet. The annoying respawn sound of the jungle creatures was changed or removed?
We actually didn't change it. I don't know if it's annoying. If it is, I can give that feedback to our sound guy, and he can take a look.
Yep, we will. Thank you for... but let's blame Fantus for that. Zerislite, why does the camp drop 2, and why were tier 2 deployables removed?
So, tier 2 were actually really good, but I feel like a lot of people didn't think they were good. More recently, people have noticed that the tier 2 health is extremely good, and they've been using it to great effect.
Leviathan, resurfacing in 60 seconds.
Overall, I felt like it wasn't a great mechanic in terms of we wanted the jungler to reap the benefits of the camps he was doing, and we also wanted the laners to sort of reap the benefits of your jungler doing well. And that was the whole reason why we ended up putting the beacons in the base in the first place. So we kind of went for the best of both worlds approach, where you, as a jungler, will be able to use the beacons that you are, or the triggers that you're getting, and then in addition, you'll actually be able to assist your laners that are having a problem as well.
Okay.
So.
King of Comics 726 version 2. Do these changes go towards Gotham Heights and Coast City? The changes to some of them are applicable. Obviously the deployables aren't, but speed boost at base.
We are not doing any of these changes actually in Coast City or Gotham Heights.
Okay.
We talked about doing these if they're successful. If people like them, we can migrate them. Specifically like the speed speed pad change that interrupts on damage. Like we were thinking about doing that in Gotham Heights as well, because those speed pads are really annoying when somebody's ducking in and out of them.
Right.
But we actually didn't do any of this since we're doing a magnitude of changes in general to all the maps that we're kind of being a little cautious in migrating a lot of these changes to the other two maps just yet.
Sure.
So, I mean, we typically have changed a lot of things on one map and then migrated it to another map later.
Right.
Which you may be seeing in the future. And this map specifically from the changes on Coast City and Gotham Heights.
Yep.
So, we are thinking about doing it. We just haven't done it yet.
Okay. Matthew B 969. I just noticed changes to the size of some of the stealth pads and placement. Are these going live at the same time?
Yeah, actually, I'm sorry, I completely forgot about these. We've done literally yesterday. I went in and I changed up some of the stealth pad placements, specifically down
so
here.
Small.
It used to be a double pad, and now it's just a single pad. We also changed up. We added these pads in and moved these pads up. And we basically got rid of a lot of the wraparounds. Like there used to be a wraparound right here, and over here. These guys are new.
Too many nubs like me just going in and dying.
Some of that, like this pad used to extend all the way down to here and go up. So we kind of strategically position them so that you're still able to sort of sneak up. Like you could go through the jungle up here and camp out over here and wait for the guy to do the camp and run in at the last second and steal his buff. But we sort of reduced overall the number of pads, and we removed the wraparounds. Okay.
So all new vision game coming up, which means I will die more. Okay. Tavit, why did you remove the EMP and the EMPs and AdWords? Because vision slows the game down, and less EMPs makes the game slower also.
So we actually saw an overall reduction in vision in between the frequency at which these guys are up. The surveillance towers aren't going to be up forever anymore, which is a decrease, and the range is decreased, and that it's assuming that you get both of them and you're using both of them.
Yep.
And then there's that 2.5 minute downtime that I was talking about, because the camera's only up for 5 minutes and the respawn on the camp's 7 minutes. Okay. So, as far as the EMPs go, we felt like having like 2 EMPs like 2 minutes into the game was a little rough.
Yeah.
So you still have the EMPs. They're just on bigger objectives, and they're up at the same amount of time. They're on a 5-minute respawn.
Okay.
So we actually didn't remove the EMPs. We just put them on tougher camps, and we actually reduced the difficulty of the Leviathan as well. So it'll actually be a little bit easier to do.
Easier like 2 levels easier, or easier like 1 man easier?
It would be hard to do it with 1 person unless you were super late game.
Right.
But you could feasibly do it like 2 or 3 men.
Oh, okay.
Further, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes in when he spawns.
Okay. The Dicer, why are you lowering jungle experience so much? Wouldn't that also slow the game down?
It doesn't necessarily slow the game down. It just allows more people to shine. Because before...
The Wonderful Wizard of Oz?
Yeah. Before, you ended up with the jungler. If he just stayed in his jungle and just did all the camps, he'd outlevel everybody in the map.
Right.
So instead of having that jungler being the end-all be-all of solo XP, now you have the top laner, the mid laner, bottom laner if you solo.
Yeah.
And then you'll have the jungler as well, which is slightly less.
Basically, Crashy was out of control, too strong, so we nerfed him.
Yep.
Sorry, Crashy. Probably pretty salty over that. Will it be possible to somehow play this game on a computer that isn't that great? Because currently my laptop can't handle this game, which is really sad. That is really sad, Amigo Chaz. We did touch on that before. Yes, not just because of this map, though. All of the maps will have changes, and there will be a big performance upgrade. That doesn't mean that you will actually be able to play it on your laptop, because I don't know what laptop you have. But
if it meets the min spec of the game, if it meets that, then you should be able to play it. And if you can't, then that's a problem.
It's definitely, you have a much better chance of your laptop being able to run this game than before.
Yeah, specifically this map on the min spec requirements was absolutely horrendous.
Yeah.
It was a little bit easier to play Gotham Heights because there wasn't as much stuff going on, but we've done a lot of performance increase stuff.
So yeah, check in with us. We'll be releasing them in specs in the not too distant future. But irrespective, it will be, even if we released it on the day of patch, that would be the time you would go and get our game anyway. So hopefully we'll be seeing you in game, Amigo Chaz. Matthew B again. What stops someone running along the buff pads spamming to waste them all? We actually covered this. Maybe you asked this just before.
Yeah, basically, yeah, you could, I mean, you can still go and like run over it, pick it up, drop it, run over, pick it up, drop it, but it prevents you from actually doing it by accident. Like, if you want to be a griefer, like, you can still go like, woo, woo.
Oh, Fantus
I'm using everything.
We've not even released this map, and Fantus is already showing you how to troll on it. That's how trolly he is. Where are your troll questions, please? Please.
Also, there is one other thing I forgot to include. When we actually added a time delay into, if you take damage while you're holding a deployable, it'll actually gate your usage of that deployable for a couple seconds. So if a player's hitting you and you run over and you pick up the buff and you're like, oh, I'm getting out of here, if he keeps hitting you, you're not going to be able to burn that before he kills you.
So you also, if you're holding the Leviathan shield and you get engaged on, you don't get to use that shield.
The shield we're thinking about maybe is going to be the one exception to that rule, because it's hard to use a defensive ability that will shield you if you're being hit.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that we're going to make it so that every other deployable, if they're hitting you, you're not going to be able to use it immediately.
Right. Or just immediately after picking it up, not that
immediately after being attacked.
Right.
So basically, since there's no interaction now, since you don't have to pick it up, we have no way of preventing people from running in, stealing the thing, and then just piecing out.
Right.
So our contention mechanic is you kill the other person and they never use it. You can pick it up. So all the deployables will be dropping on the ground as well. So if somebody has a health pad and you're hitting them, you can kill them, pick up their health pad, and use it.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. Oh, sorry. Yes. So Matthew, also just as well, we mentioned it there, but we did mention it before. Basically, when you're holding T-skill, you can't pick up another T-skill.
Yep.
Okay. Mr. Itchy, can you show how the minions act with a dampener down?
I can try.
Let's have a look. This might break the game.
Actually,
this may take a little. Oh, nice. Oh, you're so good.
Oh, you know what? I can smite these now.
You're so strong.
So.
Okay, and I guess we'll clear through it, and then we'll watch that happen, and we'll come back to it, and I will also. Let's deal with some more exciting things. Nick3570. Nick is not a pro gamer, I found out recently. He's an amateur. I was very disappointed because I'd chosen Nick as my mentor, and turns out he's not that good. Sorry, Nick, but you're still my mentor because I can't unmentor you. It doesn't work like that, unfortunately. So we're stuck with each other. Nick, are you still actively looking to resize the map, or are the changes you are looking to implement in September going to be permanent changes to reduce game time? Just before you respond to that, I'm just going to say nothing in our game is permanent, unless it's really awesome. But even then, it's probably not permanent. We will constantly revise and relook at everything all of the time. That said, on the issue of map resizing,
we actually tabled this for now. We were talking about doing it. See, they're defending right here. But ultimately what we came up with was the art costs to actually redesign the map like that wasn't going to be worthwhile when we could just increase the respawn times to address 90% of that problem. We did the math and we ended up with about 10 seconds if we managed to shrink the map. We can't just like uniform scale. There is no like uniform scale the entire map. Like you can't do that.
Right.
Then we'd have problems with a lot of our champions and the turret pathing and a lot of stuff just in general. However, with that 10 seconds that we would have saved, we just threw that onto the respawn timer and we get the same effect as shrinking the map.
So we may still, so I guess we're not going to resize it anytime soon. But that doesn't mean that we won't ever resize it. Anything is possible in the future.
Yep.
Matthew B again. Will the speed boost from Will the speed boost not adversely affect the pace of the game early on, as dead champions will return to lane much faster?
It's not much faster. It's about a 4 to 5 second increase in the time it takes you to get back to the lane. So it'll subtract that 5 seconds or so, but that's it. You still have the same respawn timer, post or pre 20 minutes. So it will increase the speed of the game early, but overall it just kind of saves. It's more savings towards the late game. We also scale up the movement speed of champions over the course of the game, which I think a lot of people aren't aware of. So towards the late game, you'll actually be moving a lot faster than you were pre 20 minutes or 30 minutes.
That's already in though, right?
Yeah, it's already in.
It's already in.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Bixel, do minions continue to spawn at the dampener when the dampener dies?
Yep. They are still going. They spawn right here. So this game is actually going to end soon if I don't intervene, because as soon as these guys are pushed past.
Yep. How will you do that? Spawn like 200 jokers.
I can just kill them, but as soon as they're pushed past these first two power cores, if you don't intervene, they'll actually just end the game.
Okay. Well, why don't we? They're going to end the game. Let's Ben, if you want to bring us back to full camera mode, we just end and then restart.
It's fine. I can.
Should we do that?
Sure, that works.
And then we don't, because otherwise you'll have to do that over and over. And I don't want you to have to work those delicate little fingers any harder than is absolutely necessary.
That's fine.
While you're doing that, I will answer Bozzy Lumpkin's next one. Can deployable stack in base? They cannot.
They cannot.
If you have a tier 1 and then you go and grab another one, you don't get a tier 2, and you also don't get 2 tier 1s back in base. So you will have to manage that. Mentor Nick3570 again. With these other changes, are you still planning on changing death timers?
Yes. They're going into the next update. I believe that's the August update.
Okay.
So they're actually going to get a preview of the death timers before this actually goes live.
I feel like it's not that 60 seconds is a lot. I mean, it is that 60 seconds is a long time, but also just seeing the number 60 is horrible. Can we just make the number like 10 and go down really slowly? And you're like, yeah, only 9 till I'm back.
Well, the thing about the death timers specifically, which a lot of people don't seem to understand, is that pre like 20 minutes, it's pretty much the same. Pre 30 minutes, it's only slightly increased, and after 30 minutes is when you're going to start to see that real change in the respawn timers. And the matches should be ending around 35-40 minutes anyways.
Okay.
So at most, you're probably only going to see 1 or 2 of those long death timers.
Okay. Will we see, if games do reach 75 minutes?
Then you will see that, minute 40-second death timer. You will get that, because we want the game to end at an hour in. We will have fixed that bug, though. Which is currently plaguing our... It's already been fixed. Don't worry about it. I think that's getting fixed in the August patch, actually.
Oh, it is? Excellent.
Yep.
Excellent. Good work. Question from Can we see the new base turret kill someone?
You know what? I don't think that...
These are difficult. These are difficult requests.
I don't think the base attack animation is fully hooked up yet, but I will spawn a dude and we'll see what happens.
Jungle creatures. Online in 10 seconds.
Oh, look at that.
All right.
Here, I'll even spawn her.
It's over,
higher level.
It's all over.
Jungle creatures.
Level 40.
Complete.
So, still needs some polish work, but it's working.
It does almost as intended.
Enough, Joker.
Okay, ICT Spark. If you're making this decision on deployables not usable in combat, this means people can't use speed to run out of a gank. Isn't this counterproductive?
In some cases, yes. Yes, it is. That's why we're still experimenting with the time that you're delayed, in terms of, like, maybe it's 3 seconds that it takes to reset, maybe it's 1 second, maybe it's half a second, maybe you need to constantly take damage. We're still kind of working on it and trying to come up with a good solution that doesn't feel bad.
Definitely there is a feedback thread in the roadmap and feedback folder. If you want to drop any thoughts on anything that you've seen here today and that, Fantus will read it.
Yep.
And if there's enough consensus on something, or if everybody says the same thing, then that makes us more likely we'll read it many times. And so it's always worth saying what your thoughts are.
Yep. This is kind of a first for us in terms of we're actually showing you this all before it's done. And I have about, 5 days to actually fix things before this gets a little locked down a little bit more. So we have a little bit of time for development. So be sure, if you have any feedback, give it to me now, and I'll see what I can do.
Maloth, Will you no longer show where or when people show Raider or Leviathan? Hang on, I feel that it's not. I've read that wrong. Will you no longer show when or where people show Raider or Leviathan? Alongside that, it will no longer broadcast when a team kills Leviathan, as well as giving the opposing team the timer for Leviathan. Oh, I see. Sorry, both teams find out right now.
Yep. So we've actually talked about this for a long period of time. Really what we came up with was we wanted to build tension when one team does the Raider or Leviathan.
Mm-hmm.
So the way we do that is through our music system. And hooking off of that, we kind of wanted to... We jack up the music, we change the music, and we can't really change the music based on team, but we may end up getting some tech so that we can do that based on a team, so we don't have to broadcast it. So it's something that's kind of in flux still, but right now the way our tech works, it's we can't do it that way.
Right.
So we're still working on it. We may actually end up doing this for the September update, but no promises.
I would argue that, and this is why I'm not a game designer, everybody knowing when Leviathan comes back makes everybody go to Leviathan, and nothing finishes a game.
I think
like...
specifically, like, it was because of when you kill Leviathan, they're like, oh man, the enemy team's killed Leviathan, and you know where they are at that point.
Oh, right, I see.
Yep.
I see. Again, that's why I'm not a games developer. Sager, with our last question, it seems. With the changes to the minion spawn points you've made mid lane, significantly more... Hang on, sorry. With... I apologize for my inability to read these sentences. Please feel free to use commas where you feel like you might want the sentence broken up. With the changes to the minion spawn points you have made mid lane... with the changes to the minion spawn points, you have made mid lane significantly more important since they are the only minions that will defend the power core. This feels like it undervalues the other lanes.
Actually, these guys will defend if it's on their lane. So
right.
I could demonstrate it, but I don't really want to. But they will actually defend if the minions are attacking the power core turret from the bottom. The difference is that they only defend... Only that wave defends that lane. So if this wave gets pushed in and this dampener falls and the minions are attacking this power core turret, this lane won't help defend that because the siege creeps and the range creeps won't be in range to get aggro.
So no matter what, only the drones from that lane will defend against attacks from that lane regardless.
Yes.
Okay, so there's not going to be everything powering back.
Before, like, if they pushed up to one power core turret, all three lanes would defend that power core turret.
Right.
But only one wave is going to be in range now to receive that call for help.
Okay. I think that makes sense. Jonatel, one more question it seems we have here. When will we see more terrain interaction and destruction, like making new paths by destroying some parts of the terrain, besides picking up cars to open the paths? Oh, it's just like the opposite of what we've done.
We have been considering it on this map. However, we feel like that's better suited for an entirely different map.
Right.
It's hard to do with the current design to sort of meld something in similar to that because it kind of changes up everything we designed around it in the first place. So it's hard to sort of wedge something in of that magnitude without redesigning the whole map.
Right. I think as well that is that would make a map have a more organic feel and then maybe less appropriate for the pro map. But certainly for Gotham Heights or Coast City, that might be someplace more where destruction was like it was just like fun was more important than predictable balancing. We
may or may not have another map in development that may cater to your interests.
He did not say that. If he did say it, it's so far away.
I totally didn't say that.
That it's not even. Don't even think that there's a new map coming because it's not going to happen in our lifetime.
We totally don't have another map.
Right. Right. All right. I think that seems to be everybody's questions. I think that's testament to just the sheer quality of your descriptions, Dan. The way you lyrically and visually brought the map to life. So thank you for that. Oh! I thought you were swearing at me. When you do, that's 2. When you turn it the other way, it's not so polite. Americans, apologize. Apologize, Europeans. Matthew, one more question. Sorry. What if bot dampener is down and the bot power core turret is dead? Thank you, Matthew. It's feasible for me to read this question out. What if bot dampener is down and the bot power core turret is dead and bot super minions are on the top power core turret? Will the defending bot lane minions be in range to aggro still?
It will not. As soon as you start losing power core turrets, that's when it sort of pushes it over the edge, and they'll stop defending their lane.
Okay.
They will defend against subsequent waves, but you need somebody in the base to actually defend the base.
So what is so that's the change that we're making. What is your expected change in player behavior now? What is the best way to quickly finish a game?
Basically, when you have one of those power core turrets down, you need to have somebody in the base to assist the power core turrets. If you do not, the power core turrets will continue to fall, or they will actually push the power core to the point where it'll fall eventually.
So it'll be much more easier to, as long as your lanes are pushed, then you should be in a good position to take down more quickly.
Correct.
Because at the moment, I think we saw, well, I don't know if anyone was watching on Saturday, but essentially Mecha Superman stopped an entire team from doing anything, even though all the 3 lanes were pushed, but he just successfully, through one lane, held back all the players, and so they weren't able to, and actually after it was like an amazing 50-minute turnaround. It was phenomenal to watch, but that type of thing is less likely to happen now. If all 5 of you are the bottom lane and then your drones are just in those top 2 lanes, and that's going to end.
We did make one change to the drones specifically. They stop leveling after 30 minutes. So after 30 minutes, the players keep leveling and they keep getting stronger. However, the drones are stagnant. What that does is it actually makes it so that supports and controllers kind of have an easier way of clearing the waves. And it's not as good as a marksman or a blaster, but they can actually kill a wave, which is good. And marksmans and blasters and bruisers actually have a lot easier time clearing the waves. So basically you can leave one person back at the base to sort of defend, and then the other 4 can push.
Are we really sure it's marksman's, or is it marksmen?
Marksman.
Marksman's?
Sure.
Okay.
Marksman's.
Just making sure. Maybe the last question. Hang on, sorry. Tavit, why would you replace EMPs with wards if the change makes the game slower? Right now it seems the games won't be faster much. I still see 40 to 50 minute games coming.
The EMP change was one of several to increase the match resolution. It's sort of like a big picture thing. You can't just look at the EMPs and say that this one change is going to slow down the pace of the game. Really, all we've noticed is that slows down the early game. It doesn't actually slow down the late game. Because you still have those EMPs available and you can still do them. It's not actually slowing down the late game resolution, it's slowing down the early game progression.
Right. So these are we're testing these changes, and we have found it to be faster.
Yep.
So hopefully that you will also have that experience.
Yeah, if you nitpick any one change in the cycle, it may appear that it's actually slowing down the game resolution, but the whole of the changes, all of them combined, is what we were getting at. There isn't any one solution that we can come up with to sort of make matches resolve faster. It's a combination of changes in between the speed pad, the minions, the respawn timers, and the EMPs. These things all can sort of head towards a faster match resolution.
Cool. I think that's everything. Celestrata hasn't given me any more questions. She just did a polite hand gesture and not the disgusting one that she did to me earlier, which was really horrible. Really, really hurt me inside. I feel really bad. Thank you for feeding us questions, Celestrata. Just want to reiterate, we have a thread in this in the forums. If you want your voice to be heard, if you want to offer your thoughts on this, where if you believe that these changes will make an effect or they won't, or you want to suggest other changes, please come post in that thread. We will read that. Dan will read that. So if you want to troll him super hard, you can go and post in there. But obviously, don't do that. Yeah. We're looking forward to putting these changes out in September.
Yeah, I'm super excited for people to play this map.
Cool. Actually, are any of the changes? Is there anything happening before September, or is Gotham Divided remaining as it is?
So we still have our August update, which has I think 3 changes that I made. I'm not sure. There's the respawn timers, which I know for sure is going in. I think the level cap for the turrets is going in, and drone speed. Yes, the drone speed's going in. The drones will be moving faster.
Okay, so behavior of that stuff will change in the next update.
Yep.
Cool. Okay, so thank you very much. Thanks for joining us. We will have this up on. This will be available on our Twitch, but also we'll post it up on YouTube shortly-ish, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks, I believe, for we're going to talk with Chris Clay Hakai about responsiveness and the changes that he's been making in the game. So yeah, thank you very much.